What's up, guys? Welcome to Director on Director, where this week I get to talk to the Wizard of Gore himself. No, not that one, but SamHel, the owner of A Baroque House and director of such films as I Cut Your Flesh. It's a gruesome good time and very, very enlightening. Don't forget to check us out. Like and subscribe below, follow those links, and on to the interview. All right, and welcome back, everyone, to Director on Director with Richard Tanner. You should pretty much know who I am by now, but if you are tuning in to this very special episode that's very much just, like a Christmas episode, if you will, I have a special guest with us, one that I've known for quite some time, the one that I'm going to dub the crowned Prince of Gore, the Herschel Gordon Lewis, if you will, of the modern age. Someone who's doing more and more and more and freaking me the hell out. Say hello to SamHel, everybody. What's up, man? How you been?
I'm all right. Going, just trucking. Bunch of projects coming out. Working on a bunch of projects. How have you been? We haven't talked in a while.
I know the people are happy about that, man. You've got a very niche group that is rabid for you because not too many people know about this yet. This Director on Director is coming out all at once, like to where I'm filming all these back episodes and then wanted to release it 2 weeks because I'm lazy and I'm not going to record and edit and put this stuff out the week of. So I'm getting them all ready to where I can just click upload.
That works. That's always good.
Yeah, but when I talk to people about it, some people are like, oh, cool, you got this person, you got this person. I said your name, and people literally jaws drop like, oh my God, you're doing an interview with them? And I'm like, what do you mean doing an interview? This is some snot-nosed kid I've known since he was 18 who was like, here's my movie. And now here you are, like the biggest man and sleaze and adult horror. And I use these words with the utmost respect for you because I don't want your fans to kill me.
No, they won't.
I don't know, man. Some of your fans are scary. I've talked to them. I sold one of your movies to them. They're scary guys.
Yeah, I mean, I can get that. They've been nothing but nice and supportive to me. But I think if someone said something, they'd be like, all right, time to square up then.
Yeah. But tell me about your path, man, because I'm not going to get into too many specifics with you because, the mask and the hoodie or the beanie ain't no mistake. But tell me, you're a young guy. What got you into extreme horror? The underground's always an extreme thing. I got a Fred Vogel tattoo right up here that I'm not going to go through pulling up. But you're the extreme to Stephen Byron, man. You're extreme in his world, past his world, I think. I've seen all the American Guinea Pigs, and your shit still is I Cut Your Flesh documentary is whoa, this is intense, man. What got you into doing that?
Well, starting with tattoos first, I'll show my tumbling doll of flesh.
Oh, there you
my
go.
woman's flesh too, so people already know who I am. It kind of just progressed over time. When I was younger, I was watching a lot of comic films with a cousin of mine, and then from there, it kind of I was always struggling with horror and gore. I couldn't watch it. My mom's a nurse, and she would watch these these ER shows, and that's real. And I understood why I couldn't see someone's oh, we're fixing this person's leg, and I couldn't watch it. With bones popping out and things cut open, and I was and then I watched the Punisher film, The War Zone. That was the graphic rated R one, and it was an
intense movie for a mainstream movie.
Yeah, and my cousin was hesitant to take me to it because I was a younger kid. I was obviously in high school and stuff like that, and freshman or something like that, and I was like, nah, I got it. I do it, because my cousin was somebody I try to be tough around and be if he could do it. He was in his 20s, and I was I could be like that. We went there, and I ended up staring a lot at the corner of the theater, and then after watching it again, my mind started okay, I can see that. And then next thing you know, I started looking at horror films because if you can see that, you can see another horror film, you can see another gore film, and before I actually got into stuff that was not even extreme or out there, it was stuff like Suspiria or Dario Argento, a lot of bright Italian gore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting into that, and I started reading reviews. I never really watched August Underground or Lucifer Valentine or any of these things. I read the reviews first. And the first reviews I actually stumbled on was Tumbling Doll of Flesh, Woman's Flesh, and InHell Productions' Necro, which, me being like, I think 16 or 17 when I read them, they were like, this is illegal to own. You can't have this. Like, this thing is like, you can't. So what is this being passed around? Like, how did someone get this? And basically, like, I was like, if I'm going to make something, it's going to be like this, where people are like talking about it in this way. But I was like 16, 17, and I was like, well, these are like pornos. I can't really make them. And I don't really know how to shoot films or do anything of that. And just next step, okay, now I watched them, and then after that, I met somebody who made them, and then I was on set, and then it just kind of going downhill, down to the next, to the next, to the next, and that's basically how I just got into it.
That's interesting, man. And like that age gap too is funny because like you're a kid of the internet. Like I was in high school before the internet started getting big.
Yeah.
And so like every horror fan goes down this world where you're like, oh man, Friday the 13th is great. Oh man, Evil Dead's better. Oh man, The Boneyard is great. And you just start going deeper and deeper. And eventually you're like, oh, I want to watch Faces of Death.
Yeah.
Wait, you're just going, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I just watching people die? And the internet comes about and you're watching Hey Man, Nice Shot, the dude who shoots himself in the face.
The Bud something.
Yeah,
the guy killed himself on live TV.
Yeah, the dude killed himself on live TV. You just start watching real death, and you're like, whoa. And it's interesting because you can always tell the difference between like Hollywood people that are making gore and people who really appreciate gore. And that's something that I really like about you, man. Like you're someone that's actually exploring the art of just how dark you can go. And like I can get why people go for you. Like I can also get why some people might be turned off of you. But I mean, again, like you got to expect that.
And I mean, for me personally, I still can't really watch gore things or anything of beheadings or cartel. I like listening about stories about that, or people talk about it or read about it, but I can't watch real gore. The only person I can like sit through and watch is Kiyotaka Surasaki, the guy who did Orozco and Junk Films. And I think I appreciate it more that he went out there and did it. Like he went out there and was with the EMTs and was with cleanup crews and police and meeting people. And like I appreciate that he did that a little bit more than the gore. Yeah. So I think my mindset just sits in the realm of what I saw of fictional gore wise. Because the moment someone like switches to like real, my mind just like I become like a kid and I just want to turn it off and I can't really watch it. So yeah, it's always something like that.
Gotcha. You've got to definitely be one of those people though that has some people wondering, just like oh my god, no, you know. Something I liked about you from some of your early works when you were a kid, like when you gave me that DVD. Is usually when you see indie directors, especially starting, is they take these classics. You know, they're like the tropes are, oh, let's go in the woods. There's woods around us. Let's go do something with a sleepover. You know, you did these films that were more on the line of like Tarantino, Guy Ritchie. They were all these like gangster kind of movies. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool, man. Like you've never just like relied on the classic tropes. Like you've been, I don't want to say experimental because it's not, well, yeah, I do. You've been experimental, but you've never been shy of taking on a project that's much harder than the level you should be at. And like, how's that feel? I mean, like you've done other things, you work with Unearth, like you've done something that a lot of people like, man, I'm 35 and I'm like, whoa, Sam, tell me, how the hell did you get this brave, man?
I mean, it's just more of like, I just kind of pushed myself. I mean, that was the only thing that like I wanted to do this. I was already injured and couldn't really work a 9 to 5, and like I was always into films and movies, and even from just like comedies all the way up to horror. So I was like, dude, it's like I wish I could do that, but I was always thinking like you got to be before, like, oh, directors are in the canopy with 30 other people and he sits in a chair and somebody else works camera. It wasn't until like recent, like maybe 17 or 18 that I saw like a trauma film being made. Like I was on set of a trauma film and I was like, like, oh, the director's holding the camera, the director's telling the actors what to do. Why is James Duvall here? And like, why is Byron in this? Like there's people here that have been in multi-million-dollar films, but they're doing a favor for a friend that's been like. So I always like see that, and I'm like, oh, okay, so if they can do that, I can do it. And if I can push the envelope, they can push the envelope. So it was just kind of that. I was just making things that I wanted to see or inspired by 5 different movies, and I was like, it'd be cool if you did this in that movie, and I did that like from this other movie and added it in here, and I just kind of combined stuff. And I guess people were like, they don't think like that, or they're scared to think like that, or they never thought to think like that. So I just kind of made stuff that I was always into, and apparently they kind of stuck out, I guess.
They definitely do. They definitely do. See, something else you've done though that always impressed me, man. Like you've been a very big like business thinker on this, like, since the beginning, because you networked really hard. Man, you had like more gumption than most people I know, and like you would network and all this. But it is something that's funny to me because like I talked to you about this off the interview, so I'm not going to feel bad about dropping it. I saw one of your movies because I was like looking to kind of clear my collection out because I have too much. So I was like, I have a movie like, that I'm just trying to sell. And like, you got, A Baroque House, and that group is crazy on Facebook. So I was like, is this worth money here? Like, yeah, probably $100 is what they pay for it. And Jesus, they did, man. But you really became business minded with all this. And for such a type of films, that you're doing that's niche and everything, like, you'll usually do like a pre-order for like 60 copies or everything. Like, you really know what you're doing to get the most bang for your buck and to keep people wanting more. Like, how did you take that risk, and how did you get up there to figure this out so quick, man? Because I barely break even with my movies, man. Like, I got like 10 people that are going to contact you after this going, hey bro, explain.
It's just more trial and error. Like with even the original like slasher stuff I did when I was like 18, I only made 50 copies because I thought less than that was going to sell. So it wasn't like I was limiting it to 50 copies. It was the fact of like 40 went out the door, 10 sat here, and then I gave those 10 away. And then I went into the next project and like, some got picked up, so 10 more. So that 50 number was like already selling. So I was like, okay, so I just limited it to what was going to sell. I wasn't going to like take money out of my pocket to buy something that was going to sit here till now. Because I still have discs from like, from the early, when I was like 18, 17 making stuff, and they're blank, but I bought them, and because I would burn them myself, like, so I didn't like come up with an idea that, I'm going to limit them and that'll be making them. Like, it was just more, I was buying what I think would sell with the people around and what buys what and who buys what. And then when it got to A Baroque House, it was like Red Tragedy, the first short we did, I wanted it pressed. The lowest amount you can do pressed is 300. So I just did the lowest amount pressed, and I think like a year later they sold completely. Like, but then there was enough money coming in to do the next project, and I don't spend so much on a project that I have to be stuck there. I like to make money, but not for the sake of making money, just for the sake I could do something else. So of course I want $10,000 to come in because I can take that money and go make something else, something better and cooler of what I wanted to do. So I think the mindset is that I'm not trying to like steal money from people, like for the sake of like, I'm going to give you this half-ass project and you're going to give me $30 because that's what I feel I deserve. And I don't care if you like it or not. It's just more of like, I'm going to make this project. Here's what I think it's worth. And if I sell out of it, I'll make something cooler, the same, or different, or bigger, or higher budget. And people see how it kind of goes up on scale of what I do. Like, obviously if he sells 1,000 copies, it's going to be like this times 10. So, and I try to like give that to him as best as I can. But it's just basically on what title comes out and what is in it and what like how people take it in, and I can kind of judge on should I do a press copy or should I do a BDR because what's going to sell. And that's just my mindset when it comes to it, is that like I don't put myself too high, I guess, in general, or I'm the best filmmaker or this and that, where I have an ego sort of mindset of like, oh, this needs 10,000 copies because 10,000 copies are going to sold, even though like I know realistically like maybe 400.
Yeah.
So I just don't take that big of a risk and put everything into, I guess, like on a Russian roulette. I don't put all my like money on one number and one color and stuff like that. Russian roulette, it's just roulette.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that, man. Something I want to tell anyone listening to though.
Yeah.
Trust Sam here, man. Like he's one of the few indie guys that you're going to talk to that are legitimately, when he says like, oh, we have this many copies, he's not going to find a warehouse with a box that's left over going, hey, we found more. Like this is one of the most legit guys you're going to meet. Like when he says something, it's true. And it's a hard thing to find in the indie world, I've learned at least. So hey, man, I'm proud of you for doing that. Keeping that shit up. Like you're a legit guy.
I appreciate it. Yeah, but even that, it's like I do have leftovers, but I'm not like sneaking about it. Like I'm not. It's like, yeah, it's limited to 300, but I made 350 because someone always hits me up to like, oh, it broke during transit. Oh, it did this, and oh, it did that, and it never arrived. And I'm just like, I don't argue with people. I mean, now I have warnings on the site because it costs too much with people in the content and all that I don't do refunds. I'll do replacements because I just get constant people. This is not what I thought this movie was. And I'm like, dude, there's like warnings everywhere. Like this trailer everywhere. But like, I'm upfront with people. So I just don't like, I tell them, you may not like this film. So I'm not sitting here trying to like sell them, something that it's not. The cover art is pictures from the film, so it's like yeah.
That's interesting you say that, man, because like I never thought about that. Like your cover art's always so shocking, but that's literally the film that you're showing, man. Like that is.
I mean, it may be like a still from the film. Like I took a photo after that scene, or one of the talent is just like, here, take my Instax camera, and I took it from the Instax camera, like something like that. But it's not like, not to throw certain films under the bus, but it's not like, crazy sharks in a tornado and that's what you're gonna get. It's just like,
don't worry about throwing that under the bus as an indie film. Like, don't get specific people we know,
Yeah. So, but it's just like, I don't try to pretend to make it what it's not. It's a triple X gore film. Have at it what you want. If you want to see the trailer may be hiding stuff, but that's pretty much what it is. Like I said, the cover art's pictures from the film, or I tell exactly the artist, like, hey, I want this still in your art form. So it's like, or the way you draw or paint something. Like, so it's not like making up stuff and then kind of throwing it in there. So I just try to be as truthful and like honest and straightforward with everybody. It seems to work.
It does, man. Who would think that film and media could actually have an honest look at it, especially with something so extreme? Like that's a weird take, but yeah, it seems like you found something that really works for you, man.
Yeah, it does work.
So another thing you do that I've always been impressed with, and like I know you've always been a fan of the guy, but you work closely with Stephen Byron and Unearthed Films. I know you've actually been doing some stuff on that. What's that like? Because I mean, I would call that the highlight of, especially extreme, but indie film in general. Unearthed is where you want to be.
I met Byron, I think, the same time I met you. It was at Days of the Dead in Georgia. That was the first time I met him, and he lived in Florida. He lives out here now, and he lives about 40 minutes away from me, so he lives a little bit past, like, I have to drive to him. But I again, it's the same thing with like selling films or pushing films. I'm honest of what I'm gonna do or what it is. So if Byron needs me and I need help shipping and this and that, like I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I'll be there Friday and then ghost him on Friday.
Yeah.
Like I try to be as, I guess, as responsible and showing up on time with them as much as possible, and that kind of, I guess, showed well to him, and he kind of just trusts me to do things or handle things because he knows it'll get done, or I'll inform him. Like, so, and I guess I mean, I don't know who he works with and stuff like that, but I guess he likes that, so it just kind of works in well. And I've kind of showed myself, my work myself, like improving to the point where he says, you know, it works. It doesn't look like your stuff will be so far out of left field. So there's that too. So that always helps to, like, I'm nice and can have this thing just went dark. I'm nice and will help out, but I also, like, I guess, can create things that he finds interest in, or he finds, you know, it can work together and mesh together. So I assume that's, like, you know, and I'm not charging him like thousands of dollars to him being like, I can't afford you, or I can't, like, you can't help me ship because I can't do $30 an hour. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just working with people. It's just being nice and working with people, and you know, I'm respectful, and I try to, as long as I'm being respected and I feel like I'm not being screwed over, like, there's no bad words that come from me. So,
and listen to that, kids. I'm not lying. And this is not insulting you, but literally, you can be a no-talent person in indie film, but as long as you're reliable and respectful, it's better than the most talented person who doesn't show up and just screws you over.
Yeah.
Like, the money doesn't fix everything. So the fact that if you don't have money and someone shows up and actually does a job, that's better than someone who could do the job. You know, if I had Brad Pitt, or I had SamHel, and SamHel showed up, well, hell, the guy I'm putting up for an Oscar is SamHel, man. Just remember that.
I mean, that's kind of what it's like always been in my mindset, is that, like, if you can't deliver something that's cool or visual, or, you know, you're not good at something, you can be good at, like, being a nice person, or good being, like, you know, helping people and this and that. Like I try to do that as much as possible, and yeah, the people I kind of don't do that to, like, they, like, obviously they've kind of done something or they've rubbed me the wrong way, but that's rare, and I still try to, like, you know, be peaceful with everybody that I can, because it gets you places. And, you know, like, not to be like I do that only for that, but
yeah, no,
like, you know, I grew up, like I said, and I was kind of the weird, annoying kid. I didn't like that, and I was always, like, not invited places, or not, like, you know, invited along and hang out with all of us, like, because someone liked somebody else more than me, and, you know, I just didn't like being that kid. So, you know, growing up, you try to be more nicer to people, and long and behold, it gets you somewhere.
Yeah. I think that's something we all kind of have in common too, though. You know.
Yeah.
That we're, as, like, horror fans in general, you're always the kind of guy that's the awkward one, the one that's always, you know, a little bit on the outside. Is what we all just got, you know, close with.
Yeah.
What about future projects, man? Like, so or let's not even go to future projects yet. So I've got you pulled up here, man, and it's a hell of a filmography. Okay. I love the names of everything you have, because that's the best part about what you do. Is like, it's not necessarily just saying The Shed or The Hunt. You know, it's not like these mainstreams. You have Let's Stop at the Morgue, Sadistic Pleasures, Love Dump, I Cut Your Flesh. Out of all of your projects, man, what's at this point, what's your one that you're most proud of?
I'm really proud of everything, but the ones that stick out. Ones that stick out is I Cut Your Flesh, because it was my first attempt at something feature length, and me and Socks, the lead, the girl who goes through everything, we became really good friends, and it became a project that we had to finish. So it was a lot of time spent on it. It was a lot of time editing. It was a lot of time, like, trying to not make something that was like, this is a documentary. I wanted it something that was like, it's a documentary, but it doesn't flow like one. It flows like a movie. Like, there's obviously, like, it's not very similar. It's to other documentaries. It just kind of it has its own type of feel, and that was kind of the idea I wanted to go from it. And everything from like the beginning of starting the documentary with her and putting her in place to the end, like it was kind of exactly how I kind of thought it would be. So that one I'm really proud of. And then all the shorts, I'm just like super happy that everybody was down to make them and for them to like show up and be a part of it. Love Dump has got me far. A lot of people kind of talk about that one. But then I guess the next ones will just be the next two features, Flesh Eater X and Let's Stop at the Morgue. They're just kind of a lot of effort, and a lot of friends have kind of like put their effort and their time into it without even expecting something from me, which is nice. Obviously, I still like to give people stuff, but it's like Flesh Eater X took a lot out of me, and then Let's Stop at the Morgue is like I'm literally putting it all on a credit card. So it's like it's one of a passion project. So it's kind of like everything is kind of not going to be made just to be made. It's like everybody cares to make it. So those three were or four were kind of like big hard ones and that I like. So I would say I Cut Your Flesh the most though.
I'll tell you that I Cut Your Flesh sent me down the weirdest rabbit hole I've ever been in my life. You know, even with conspiracy theories, because I'm friends with Mark. And I've gone down some weird rabbit holes with him. But I Cut Your Flesh introduced me to a world I didn't know. And then Socks, man, that chick she's hardcore, man. Like like all credit to her. Like not even for what she physically did, just the revealing it on the camera. Like, because I've not actually seen the full thing. However, it's in my cart right now. I'm about to order it from you, so you ready for that one?
All sitting right here.
Me and John Devlin will watch it, man, and I'll send John to do some movies with you. He'll come out to California. You'll like him. But no, like seriously, dude, like that was just an amazing idea just to go into that, because it reminded me when you started, because you post a lot. I watched a lot of your extra shit with it. It reminded me kind of August Underground, you know, like Mortem and Penance, just because it was just showing real, not just real shit, but just getting into that emotion behind the character. Like while you're watching something that's intense that a lot of people, you know, might just look at as like, oh, this is crazy. Like there's this character development that you're actually getting to know someone, and that comes from you as a director. And like, I was really proud of that, man, to be able to see that growing, and I want to see more of it. And that's why I'm actually going to get this one. And I suggest
when I got some, I'm trying to remember. I don't want to like. I told it wrong. And Socks corrected me. It's on the Blu-ray. But yeah, when I met Socks, the idea was to do like a horror film with real blood, needles, and all that stuff. And I ended up doing it later with Hardcore, but with her, it was, I just liked her so much. Like, just the way she came in, her hair, what she was like wearing, it was like, this is the girl who's like, you know, okay, like, no, this doesn't seem like something she would do. And then it was like this sweet kind of young girl who was just like, I do this extreme shit, like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I have a hard time like needles and blood. It's more of a thing that I can get over. But at the same time, it's like if I can't, there's someone that will kind of like guide me through it. Like, and Socks was that person. I was like, well, let me tell you like how I do it and how I feel and this and that and why I do it. And I'm just like, well, that seems a little bit more interesting to like peer into something that I'm unsure about and don't know that much about, but it's through a nice young girl who can explain it well and why she does it. So that was like a thing I had to put in there, because if not, it'd just be like, oh, this person is getting cut constantly. We know nothing about them. So it's like, I wanted to put like her, she's the host and she's explaining why she does that. So it's kind of, it was good. Yeah, it's very much a character developing documentary. It's focused on one person and her experience with it.
It's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, so before we end this, give me some stuff so people can find you, so they can see, you know, plug some stuff. I'm definitely going to put links down below here.
Yeah.
But let's know what's going on with you, man.
There's a lot. Some pre-orders just went up for a short film I did. It's body horror, XXX body horror, so 18 plus only. Everything at baroquehouse.com. A Baroque House, like a broke house. I'm broke, so that's spelled that way. Is 18 plus and only for 18 plus horror fans or people into experimental, bizarre stuff. The latest one that came out is The Satanic Works of Jasmine. About a girl who wants to experience death but doesn't really want to die, so she tries to enact a ritual to experience death, but she gets used, and if she does the ritual correctly, she'll turn back time and start from the beginning. We'll see if she does it in the Blu-ray. There's a limited amount left. You can get that. It's on pre-order, shipping out the first week of August, and then we go into Flesh Eater X August 13th, Friday the 13th. It's a XXX cannibal slasher film with the lead from Love Dump, and she's a photographer in town in San Francisco who is trying to get her art out and created, but she kind of falls into this pit of diving into her chaos of being a cannibal, necrophiliac psycho who's still going to document what she does. And after that, we do a full month of Indiegogo pre-orders for a non-XXX film, so we can keep it mainstream and kind of keep IMDB on us, and a bunch of other film festivals that will actually take us, because we've been kind of not taken from many. So it's a non-XXX splatter horror film thriller type thing that will be only on Indiegogo pre-orders, and I'm talking to other people about having them hold it, because I don't want anybody under 18 to go to my site. So we'll do that.
I don't know. That sounds a whole lot like you're trying to get people under 18 to go to your site.
You can't do that. Can't do that. So Let's Stop at the Morgue. That's going to be on Indiegogo September through October for pre-order. We're filming the last bit this coming week, and that one is about a morgue worker who literally wants to just kill and murder everybody, but is being caught on by police. So black and white, shot on Blackmagic and now Red Raven.
Shit. You topped me. I ain't got it red yet.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get this working there so we can finish up the film. I'm a tech weirdo. You don't need a red to make films. You don't need Blackmagic. You can use your phone. Go make something. But yep, Baroque House, 18 plus. I guess figure out how to get the Indiegogo's links out when that goes for the rated R horror film.
Right. And guys, remember, because he said it, Baroque House, because he's broke, buck short, because we're a buck short.
Yeah.
So that's
play on word there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on this with me, man. I know your fans are going to love it. My fans are going to love it. I can't wait to get this out. Hopefully, it's actually going to be closer to some of those dates you just said when this comes out. So I'll keep you updated, man. But thank you so much for coming on and opening up to me, man.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. It's good to talk to you.
Same here. Later, guys. Check out next week to see the next episode. Until then.